man sits alone in a forest. In front of him, a roasted turkey, the most beautiful thing he has ever seen in his life. And then death sits down across from him. This is Macario, made in 1960, the first Mexican film ever nominated for the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film. And almost nobody has seen it. We talk constantly about the greatest films ever made: Citizen Kane, Seven Samurai, Bicycle Thieves, but there is an entire world of cinema that never made it onto those lists, not because it wasn't good enough, but because nobody with a platform ever talked about it loudly enough. Macario is one of those films, and by the end of this video, I think you'll agree it deserves to be mentioned alongside the very best. Here is what I want you to hold on to as we go through this film. There is a moment near the end of Macario, a single final image that completely reframes every scene you watched before it. It changes what the film is about. It changes who Macario is. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. We are going to get there, but first, let me tell you about a man who just wants to eat. Macario is a woodcutter in colonial Mexico. He is poor the way most people in that era were poor, not as a temporary condition, but as a permanent state of existence. He works every day, he comes home every night, and he's hungry, always hungry. He has one dream, not money, not land, not power. A whole turkey, to himself, without sharing a single piece with anyone. That is the entire wish. In Gavaldón films, Macario's hunger not as comedy and not as self-pity, but as something almost sacred. This man's desire for one decent meal is treated with the same weight that other films give to the desire for love, or revenge, or salvation. Because that is what poverty does. It makes the most basic human need feel like an impossible luxury. His wife understands this. She steals a turkey, roasts it, and gives it to him, and Macario, rather than eat it at home, takes it deep into the forest, where no one can find him, where no one can ask him to share. And that is where three visitors find him. The first is the devil. He sits down, smells the turkey, and asks for a piece. Macario says no. The second is God. He sits down, sees the turkey, and asks for a piece. Macario says no again. Now, think about what Gavaldón is doing here. This poor, starving woodcutter has just refused both God and the devil, not out of arrogance, out of hunger so deep that not even the divine can override it. It is one of the boldest character moments in Mexican cinema. And then comes the third figure. Pale, quiet, skeletal, he introduces himself simply as Death. And Macario looks at him and shares his turkey. Why? The film never fully explains it. Maybe Macario recognizes in Death something he recognizes in himself. Someone who is never offered anything, who is always present but never acknowledged, who does the most necessary work and receives no thanks for it. Whatever the reason, Death accepts. And in return, Death gives Macario a gift, a gourd of water with the power to heal any illness. The rule is simple. If Death stands at the head of the sick person's bed, they can be saved. If Death stands at the foot, their time has come, and nothing can change it. Macario becomes a healer, famous, sought after across the region. A poor, hungry woodcutter who made a deal with Death and used the power only to help people. Here's what most people miss about Macario. It is not a fairy tale about miracles. It is a film about what poverty does to the imagination. Macario's greatest wish was a turkey. Not because he was simple, but because the world he lived in never gave him the room to want anything larger. And when Death gives him extraordinary power, he does not become greedy. He does not change. He heals people quietly and goes home to his family. That restraint is the tragedy. A man given the power of life and death, and all he ever wanted was one meal. But Gavaldón does not let the film stay comfortable. The Spanish Inquisition hears about Macario, a poor Indian man healing the sick. By what power? By whose authority? And here the film shifts from folktale into something much darker. The machinery of church and state, colonial power in its full weight, descends on this man, not because he did anything wrong, because he did something they could not control or explain. Macario is brought before the Inquisition, and what follows is one of the most quietly devastating portraits of how institutions destroy what they cannot understand. Now, the final image I mentioned at the beginning. I will not describe it in full detail, because you need to experience it yourself, but I will tell you this. The ending of Macario asks one question, a question with no comfortable answer. Was any of it real? The power, the healings, the deal with death in the forest, was it a miracle, or was it the dream of a starving man under a tree? And when that question hits you, everything you watched before it changes. Every healing scene, every moment of hope, every small triumph, all of it sits differently when you ask, what if this was the only way a man this poor could imagine a world where he mattered? That is what Macario is really about. Not death, not miracles. The inner life of a man the world decided did not deserve one. One more thing. The cinematography by Gabriel Figueroa, who worked with Buñuel, with John Ford, is some of the most beautiful black and white photography ever committed to film. The forest scenes alone are worth watching this film for. Every frame feels like it exists on the boundary between the living world and something else entirely. Macario was nominated for the Oscar in 1961. It lost. It disappeared from the conversation for decades. It should not have. This is 91 minutes of a film that knows exactly what it is doing. In every shadow, every silence, every moment between a hungry man and death sharing a meal in the forest. Watch it tonight, and when that final image hits, remember I told you it was coming. I'm the Wandering Cinephile, and I will see you in the next film.